Savitri has discovered her soul. There is the great descent of the Mahakundalini into various centers of her subtle physical. Center after center is occupied by the divine power. The divine fusions, the original consciousness force from whom Savitri has come, that has established itself, a part of it, established itself in the soul of Savitri. There is a great change in nature that has already taken place in Savitri. The tantric transformation of the physical nature has been achieved. Not only that, as a result of that, the mortal limbs open themselves to the rush of the immortal's rapture and power. There is a rush of rapture and power in immortal limbs. The inner law of beauty starts shaping the life. The words become natural speech of truth. Each thought is a ripple on a sea of light. Such a big change has already taken place in Savitri. All her acts are in concordance with the acts of natural good. Everything serves the supernal right. Great change has taken place in Savitri. But there is a cry of victory. Yes, we have won. We have created heaven here. But that is not sufficient. Housing the divine power in the soul is one aspect of it. But the entire nature also now must open to the working of the divine power. And unless that happens, Savitri will not be able to meet death and win victory over death. However, the great change that has taken place has already brought about a change in the entire surroundings, the whole world, the forest, the hermitage, the people living in those places, animals, trees, flowers, they suddenly experience something marvelous, something remarkable, something very powerful that has happened. They do not know how this has happened, why this has happened, what is the cause behind it, but they do experience that great change. With that, Savitri's yoga has now to move forward. A calm, slow sun looked down from tranquil heavens. That Siddhi of Savitri has brought the calm of sun, the tranquility of heaven, and as a result of that, a routed sullen rear guard of retreat. The last rain had fled murmuring across the woods, or failed a sibilant whisper, and the leaves and the great blue enchantment to the sky recovered the deep rapture of its smile. The rainy season is coming to an end. Is coming to an end. The routed rain has been defeated. The army is scattered in all random directions. It is like a defeated army moving in flight. Rear guard, the last section of army which will protect the rear of the army, that is also retreated. A routed Sanan, rear guard of retreat, the last range had fled, murmuring across the woods. They had gone away into the woods, vanished into the woods. If they had not disappeared, then they have failed. A sibilant whisper mid the leaves, with a kind of a hissing sound, the rains had disappeared into the forest. And the great blue enchantment of the sky is now clear, it is bright and blue, recovered the deep rapture of his smile. The cloud that had covered the sky, that has gone away, and there is the beautiful blue of the sky, and it is smiling now on this green, luxurious earth. Its mellow splendor, unstressed by storm-licked heats, found room for a luxury of warm mid-days. The night's gold treasures of autumn moons came floating, shipped to ripples of fairy air. If the day is bright and blue, and there is the luxury of warm days, the night is happy with the autumn moons drifting to the sky. The night's gold treasures of autumn moons, cloudless, clear autumn sky, came floating shipped through ripples of fairy air. These are the autumnal moons drifting in the sky, in the night sky. And Savitri's life was glad, fulfilled like earth. She had found herself. She knew her being's aim. And Savitri's life was glad, fulfilled like us. We could also say, and Earth's life was glad, fulfilled like Savitri's. It is the Earth's life that has become glad because the life of Savitri is fulfilled. We could read in the line, and Savitri's life was glad, fulfilled like Earth's, and Earth's life was glad, fulfilled like Earth's. She had found herself. She knew her being's aim. Although her kingdom of marvelous change within remained unspoken in her, secret breast. She has not told anything to anybody, to her parents-in-law, to her husband, to the rishis in the forest. She has not spoken anything to anybody. Remained unspoken in her secret breast. All that lived around her felt its magic's charm. The trees' rustling voices told it to the wind. Savitri is not going to tell, but the trees' rustling voices, they are going to tell it to the wind, and the wind is going to carry and tell to everybody. The trees' rustling voices told it to the winds. Flowers spoke in ardent hues and unknown joy. The birds' caroling became a canticle. It is a praise, it is a jubilation, a happiness which is being spoken of by nature, by the wind, by the birds, by the trees, by the flowers. Everybody is speaking of the newly found, newly felt happiness all around. And the bees forgot their strife and lived at ease. The whole nature is experiencing the tranquil heaven's gaze, absorbed in white communion with the unseen. The mild ascetics of the wood received a sudden greatening of their muse. They are withdrawn into their contemplation. The sages, the rishis, the great spiritual figures living the hermitages around, they are absorbed in great communion with the unseen. And they also feel a sudden greatening of their lonely muse, of their contemplation, wherefrom their meditation has become suddenly rich, suddenly vast, suddenly luminous. They are themselves, in a certain sense, astonished. This bright perfection of her inner state poured overflowing into her outward scene. Savitri's perfection, it is that which is overflowing all around here, made beautiful, dull, common, natural things, and action wonderful, and time divine. Yes, one man's perfection, this is what we have seen here last time. One man's perfection still can save the world. It is that perfection of Savitri, that bright perfection of her inner state poured outflowing into her outward scene, made beautiful, dull, common, natural things, and action wonderful, and time divine. Absorbed in white communion with the unseen, that is a great spiritual experience. And the mother speaks of it in one of her prayers. Maybe we can read that prayer, that meditation of the mother in full. It is dated 26th November 1915. She is writing it that experience of hers to Shavendo in a letter. This is what she wrote to Shavendo. The entire consciousness immersed in divine contemplation, the whole being enjoyed a supreme and vast felicity. The entire consciousness. Then was the physical body seized, first in its lower members and next the whole of it, by a sacred trembling which made all personal limits fall away little by little, even in the most material sensation. The being grew in greatness progressively, methodically, breaking down every barrier, shattering every obstacle that it might contain and manifest a force and a power which increased ceaselessly in immensity and intensity. It was a progressive dilatation of the cells until there was a complete identification with the earth. That is what Savitri experienced, complete identification with the earth. And the consciousness knew that its global body was thus moving in the arms of the universal being. And it gave itself, it abandoned itself to it in the ecstasy of peaceful bliss. Then it felt that his body was absorbed in the body of the universe and one with it. The consciousness became the consciousness of the universe, immobile in its totality, moving infinitely in its internal complexity. The consciousness of the universe sprang toward the divine in an ardent aspiration, a perfect surrender, and it saw in the splendor of the immaculate light the radiant being standing on a many-headed serpent whose body coiled infinitely around this universe. The being, in an eternal gesture of triumph, mastered and created at one and the same time the serpent and the universe that issued from him. Erect on the serpent, he dominated it with all his victorious might, and the same gesture that crushed the Hydra, enveloping the universe, gave it eternal birth. Then the consciousness became this being and perceived that his form was changing once more. It was absorbed into something which was no longer a form and yet contained all forms. Something which, immutable, sees the eye, the witness, and what it sees is. Then this last vestige of form disappeared, and the consciousness itself was absorbed into the unutterable, the ineffable. The return toward the consciousness of the individual body took place very slowly in a constant and invariable splendor of light and power and felicity and adoration by successive gradations, but directly without passing again through the universal and terrestrial forms. And it was as if the modest corporeal form had become the direct and immediate vesture, without any intermediary, of the supreme and eternal witness. This is a letter which the mother sent to Shabando and to which he answered on 31st December 1915. His answer is as follows. Shabando writes to the mother, the experience you had described is Vedic in the real sense, though not one which would easily be recognized by the modern systems of yoga, which call themselves Vedic. It is a union of the earth, of the Veda and Purana, with the divine principle. The earth, which is said to be above our earth. That is to say, the physical being and consciousness of which the world and the body are only images. But the modern yogas hardly recognize the possibility of a material union with the divine. So this is the experience the mother has absorbed in white communion with the unseen. The mild ascetics of the wood received a sudden greatening of their lowly muse because of this identification of the earth with the original principle. This bright perfection of her inner state poured overflowing into her outward scene, made beautiful, dull, common, natural thing, and action wonderful, and time divine. Even the smallest measure, even the smallest, meanest work became a sweet or glad and glorious sacrament, an offering to the self of the great world, or a service to the one in each and all, a service to the one in each and all. That is the Upanishadic experience. What we have just seen, the Vedic experience of the mother. I think we'll take it up next time again.